Hello and welcome, this is Type V3, and today I'm taking a look at the esteemed leader of the Autobots, the Transformers Prime Voyager class Optimus Prime, the first edition. Of course, at the time of this recording, you're probably more familiar with him being called Orion Pax. Prime's alt mode is a fairly well sculpted and accurate representation of what he looks like on the show. The paint applications here are very clean and crisp, although it is weird to notice that the hood is a lot glossier and the cab has got more flat matte look to it. Also, I like how he has a molded in hitch and the fact that it's painted. However, when you look at past iterations of Optimus Prime Voyager class vehicles, you can tell that they've got a lot more paint details going on in them. And when you look at this version of Optimus, he kind of falls flat in terms of his paint details or applications. There's just really nothing there, not even the wheels. Now, apart from the hitch, you'll notice that there are two other holes there, and that is for some weapon storage, or weapon placement would be more accurate, because the gun kind of just plugs in the hole and kind of just stays there, as does the included sword, and they're just there. So I don't know if it's storage or placement. It's really sloppily done and makes the whole thing look kind of stupid together, so I usually just leave them aside in this mode. Unsurprisingly, Optimus looks awesome as the leader of his fellow Autobots, and because all these first edition toys or Transformers Prime toys seem to all lack in terms of paint detail, Optimus doesn't really stand out too bad anymore. However, when you pin him up against his smaller deluxe version, it's easy to see that he's definitely missing out, whether it's the silver wheels, the yellow headlights, or even that squared silvered accent on the roof. This Optimus could have used just a little bit more in terms of paint. As for transformation, if you already have some iteration of the deluxe version of Optimus Prime, then you'll find that this is a very similar transformation. Almost everything is identical apart from his torso section, which is probably the most interesting thing, because the one thing it manages to do is clean up the backpack area by folding and compressing it all in. The way that the arms are derived from the hood of the vehicle are also pretty cool. I was pleasantly surprised to see that the shoulders come in and around and then connect into the wheels themselves. It's really impressive, as is the rest of this transformation. In fact, I found the whole thing to be completely intuitive and fun. It was challenging, but it never had so much complexity to it that I found the whole thing to be tedious. Overall, it's great, and another fun thing is that I like how the forearms can be transformed in a single fluid motion. The end result is a figure that is probably the most faithful or screen accurate to the Optimus Prime on the show. Yes, he does cheat the chest area look a little bit by using a second set of windshields, but that's okay because it does make him look a lot more pleasing. Overall, the paint is still a little bit of a downer, especially in the midsection. I wish there was a lot more use of silver or darker red. The head sculpt is fairly well done. It's not really too original or too impressive, but it does look like Optimus, and that's what it's all about. Looking at articulation, Optimus has a swivel head or neck. He's got these swiveling arms, and they also come out as well, but unfortunately, because of the way that his shoulder is connected, or his entire arm, sometimes when you tend to move him forward, they kind of pop out at the joint there. So that's a bit annoying, but it's nothing too bad. He's got these opposable shoulder pads, which you can do with whatever you want. There is a bicep cut and an elbow joint. He even has a wrist swivel, but on mine it's really tight, and because of the way this forearm is molded right there, that means you can't turn them quite outwards, so you can only turn them downwards. He has a hip joint, but because of the way it's connected, it's actually not connected in the center of his torso, but rather the back. He has this sort of awkward joint, so when you bend his, or when you twist his waist, he has some sort of disjointed look. I'm not going to really be too harsh on it because they did put the joint in, but it does look weird. Universal joints are here at his hips. He's got a single jointed knee, which can only bend to the 90. And the ankles themselves have a little bit of a tilt in them. They can go left and right quite a bit, even forward and back. You can play with the heels as you see fit, but again, due to transformation, this shin does not want to lock in quite tight, so that tends to pop out every now and then. Putting all the joints together, Optimus can perform a variety of different poses. What he excels at most, though, are wide-legged stances, which basically due to the fact of his ankle tilts and his large heels. In terms of weight, he's got awesome balance, as you can see he can perform the high kick that most figures fail to do. In terms of accessories, Optimus comes with this awesome looking blaster. It's painted black and has this sort of silver flake that covers the whole thing. It looks pretty great, it's molded nicely, and it is a hard plastic, so it's not going to bend at any way. It only affixes with this one peg into his hand, and you can put this in any hand. And it kind of just covers his wrist, which is a nice touch because it makes it look like his hand becomes the gun. He also comes with a sword, and this one is in a soft rubberized plastic, and I do believe that this blue edge here is the blade, and because of that I have fixed it to his hands in reverse as opposed to mounting it I guess top-wise. I've slid the joint through the bottom of the fist, and so it kind of has a better look in that way. It doesn't do anything, and because it's super bendable, it kind of looks flimsy, and I am afraid that eventually it will start to lean in one way if I keep it up in one position for too long. But it's a cool looking blade. Again, it covers most of the hand, so it looks like his fist becomes the weapon, but it's nothing too special if I'm quite honest. With weapons in both hands, Optimus definitely looks like he means business. But I think the more important thing that I like about these weapons is that they seem to suit his character and they don't seem too strange. For example, Bulkhead's giant ball just doesn't seem right, nor does Arcee's giant blade thingies. If I do have any gripes on these weapons, it's that I do wish they were the same color, whether they were both black, or both silver, or both light gray. They just seem kind of strange that they're in different colors, especially that gun, since that color doesn't really appear anywhere else on the figure. Now, ignoring the lack of paint details for a moment, I think my biggest problem with this figure is that he doesn't seem very original. He seems to be a combination of the look that came from the movie version and the animated version, and it seems very boring, if I'm quite honest. And then there's the issue of paint. The other ones just, they seem to pop because they have all this extra added in detail, whereas this guy, he kinda is just a slab of red, silver, gray, and blue, but nothing really in the middle to kind of connect the colors up together. That's not to say that he's a bad looking figure, he's just, I guess for me, kind of boring. As a leader, he works well, and again, when you put him with his fellow Transformers Prime buddies, they definitely look all good together because now it just seems like they each carry a primary color, and the whole lack of paint details isn't a big issue. Now, putting all that negativity aside for a second, is this a good figure? Yes, he's definitely an awesome figure to get, and you should pick him up. In fact, between him and Bulkhead, I prefer Optimus, and it's for very simple reasons. I think he has a better vehicle mode. Yes, it is lacking paint, but the truck is nicer than whatever Bulkhead's supposed to be. The robot mode looks nice. It's got the nice heroic proportions, especially considering we've already seen the reveal of the mainline Transformers Prime Voyager Optimus, and it doesn't look too hot if I'm honest. Now, I know I said conceptually that this guy is a little bit boring and that he feels the least inspired, but honestly, that's just me being a little bit nitpicky, and so I'm not even going to bother with that statement anymore. In fact, you can just ignore me on that. Now, unfortunately, at this point, the first edition line of toys has been cancelled, so availability and pricing for this guy are going to be a little bit of an issue for most people. But if you have the means, definitely go out and buy him. He is the best Transformers Prime Optimus there is. And that's that. Anyways, I hope this review has been helpful for you guys. Thanks for watching. This has been Type V3, and I will see you next time.